This is Andy with wristadvisor.com, and today I have another very special review for you. Today we're going to be taking a look at a two-tone Breitling Chronomat B01 42 millimeter. So the reason why I picked this watch to do a review for you guys today is this is one of the first watches that Breitling did with the resurgence and their vintage inspired designs. This was back in 2020, and it was one of George Kern's first works. The other reason why I wanted to review this watch and bring it to you today is that it's two-tone. In my opinion, two-tone is massively coming back, and I wanted to see firsthand how Breitling's executing it. And then lastly, myself, like many of you, there's probably some questions on the bullet bracelet. It's something different. It's very unique. It wears, in a way that some may find comfortable, some may not. So I wanted to be able to get hands-on with this thing and just see it for myself. I've had this for 5 or 6 days now. And before I talk about my initial thoughts with this watch, I want to thank the guys at Moyer Fine Jeweler for allowing us to get hands-on. If you like Breitling, I'll have a link in the description below. You'll be able to contact those guys about any of these watches. So to talk about my first impressions of this watch is this wears extremely large for a 42 millimeter. And in just a second, I'm going to give you some close-up shots of the watch when we take a look at the specs and the features. But just putting it on, not only does it appear larger in diameter, but it's extremely heavy, which is Breitling can be known for in the past. So if that's your thing, you're going to absolutely love this watch. For me, I like to tend to wear something a little bit on the lighter side, but but that's just a personal preference. And then one of the things I led with in the video is I wanted to be able to get hands-on with this bullet bracelet, which is very unique. Personally, I think this watch might be better suited with a different bracelet. There's just a couple things that I think that it can improve on. There is not a lot of flexibility in this. So as you can see, as you push down, there's no movement. And there's not much here either. So when you clasp this watch, when you try to set it down, this is what you get, which is just a personal preference for me. I like it to sit all the way down. It shows that it can wear more with you throughout the day. But back to the watch instead of the bracelet. I think it's beautifully designed. It's beautifully executed. I love the gold bezel on this thing. I think it makes it absolutely pop. It's got this gray dial to it. But past that, I've owned Breitlings in the past with B01 movements. Absolutely phenomenal movements. If I would have to rank this watch through a lot of different categories that I've talked about on this channel, I would put this as a great everyday wear watch. You have the chronograph feature for anytime you might need to time something, but it's durable, it's strong, it's very accurate movement, something that's going to be able to withstand all the daily activities that you have with this. So let's take a look at some of the specs of this watch, and then after that we'll get into some of the features. All right, so before we get into the specs, I wanted to show you guys what the unboxing of this looked like. So Breitling uses this recycled material to house most of their watches. And as you can see, it's a little underwhelming, but they are very eco-friendly. And most people, you open the box, you put it in the closet, you never see it again. So not that big of a deal, but for some people it might be a stickler. So to take a look at this watch, let's go through some of the specs on this. Implied by the name, this is a 42 millimeter watch in diameter. Case thickness, we have it at 15.1 millimeters. We have a distance of 50.5 millimeters here. And then we have a 22 millimeter lug to lug. The weight on this is 112.2 grams. It feels a little bit heavier than that, but I'm going to go with Breitling on the specs for that. For this specific model, we have stainless steel and rose gold. I think they call it red gold. Water resistance is 200 meters, and the bezel is unidirectional. Now, for this specific one, there is still plastic over the case. So, and I'm gonna try to get it in focus here. There we go. There's still plastic over this, so I cannot turn the bezel on it, so I cannot give you a first-hand experience on how it turns. But if, you know, I know Breitling, and I've handled a fair amount of their watches, it handles pretty well. So I'm gonna give you a wrist shot of this. It looks really good on the wrist. I mean, and even the bullet bracelet, I mean, the bullet bracelet looks good. It's just a comfort factor that I think users might run into, but it looks phenomenal, and it tapers really, 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 really nice. For the crown, we have a screw down. It's got 2 gaskets. And then the crystal, we have a sapphire with glare proof on both sides. And as you can see, I mean, this is the rose gold and it shines really nice, but the polishing on the stainless steel is just as good. So even if you're in low light conditions, you know, this has lume on it. I'm going to give you a lume shot here in a minute, but you're going to be able to quickly tell the time no matter what setting you're in. The legibility on this watch is just awesome, as you can see. Let's talk about the movement. We have the Breitling Caliber B01. Now in the back, we have it wrapped in plastic still. But one thing you're going to see is this rotor right here is that it's not decorated. It looks very different than the Navitimer. The Navitimer, it's actually, a lot of this is stamped out and it's also finished. So I'm not exactly sure why it's different on the Chronomat than it is the Navitimer, but hey, it's what Breitling's done. This is a 70-hour power reserve. The chronograph is 1/4 of a second, 30 minutes and 12 hours. And then we have a date complication at the 6 o'clock subdial. The bracelet, bullet bracelet, this one stainless steel, rose gold. And securing it, we have a butterfly clasp with no extension, obviously, because it's butterfly. So if you're wearing this in the summer, you know, you're not going to get that relief of getting a couple extra millimeters. But, you know, I've owned butterfly clasps, and to be honest, it's never really been that much of an issue. Other references and combinations is that this specific one with the rose gold two-tone has a beautiful blue dial that goes with it, which is absolutely stunning. I don't think I've ever seen one of those in person. And then there's stainless steel ones with green dials, black dials, silver dials, just an awful lot. And then there's also a lot of limited editions. There's some rugby ones and things like that. So there's definitely enough of these that one of them is probably going to interest you. So those are the quick specs on this watch. And next, let's get into some of the features. Okay, so now that we've gone over the specs of the watch, now I want to dive into the features. And the features that we're going to be taking a look at today is the B01 in-house movement, the chronograph movement that's powering this watch. We're going to be talking about the rotating bezel and some interesting things that it can do. We're going to be talking in further detail of the bracelet with the butterfly clasp. And then for this specific model, we're going to be talking about the gold, and do we think that the gold is worth the price point of this watch? All right, so now we're into the features and taking a look at the watch with the hands-on view. So number one thing is accuracy. This is a chronometer, so it's very accurate, the B01 movement. I can talk to you from experience that, you know, wearing these for a prolonged period of time, they are going to keep excellent, excellent, excellent time. Very durable. You can wear them in any situation. There's not going to be, you know, fluctuation and, you know, like wearing them hard, wearing them soft or whatnot. And then they have a really great feature is that when the watch strikes midnight, this date hand is going to instantly flip. It's a great feature of this watch. You know, I know most of us have watches where the date is changing at, you know, the 6-minute mark, which seems like most of my Rolexes do, or even a little bit later. And, you know, Breitling's gone to great lengths to make sure that that date wheel is going to change almost instantly. The minute hands on the chronograph, when you have it timed, is really nice. We're going to start it for you. And you know what? I don't think you're going to see it because it's hour markers in the way. Unfortunately, I cannot pull out the crown because there's the plastic over it, but we'll hold it for a while so you'll be able to see it eventually. But the minute hand stays on this 0 until the second hand completely crosses the 60-second mark, and at that point it'll shift over to the 1-minute marker, and then it's going to do it, you know, every other time for 30 minutes. And then here it's going to be your hour register, and it's a 12-hour register that's going to count it in 30-minute increments. So the small dash right here is for 30, the large one is for 1 hour. So it's a great chronograph. You know, the B01 is a you know, tried and true, you know, tested, durable movement that's going to keep excellent accuracy over a long period of time. Another feature, bracelet, like I said, maybe not my favorite, but I can totally see the allure of this watch. It's vintage appeal. There is, you know, some history to it with the Chronomat lineup, and I can see why Breitling went with this. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, I'm not going to deny that. I do love the look of this bracelet. I love the way that it tapers down. And I actually do prefer the butterfly clasp on this. I like that the clasp is hidden, and it just has this uniform look all the way around. Very well executed. And then the bezel, we have a unidirectional bezel, and I can't do it, well, actually I cannot test it on here, but through research, you see how there's little screws right here on the 45 and the 15. It's something that I wanted to try out, but you know, obviously I'm not going to do this because this is a completely brand new model and it still has the plastic covering over this. But I wanted to see if you could unscrew it and switch out the 15 and the 45 and the 15, so you can do a count up and a count down when it comes to rotating the bezel. I saw somewhere that this watch was able to do that. So if anyone knows if that is true, you know, help everyone watching this video and leave a comment, because I'm really interested to see if that's something that is true to this watch. And then lastly, I think one of the best features of this watch is the rose gold two-tone. Like I said, I think gold is up and coming, especially when it comes to two-tone. You know, all these brands have done so well over the last, you know, ever since 2020, and a lot of them are starting to get more into gold references. And I think that the execution on the case right here with the bezel and the indices is great. The bullet bracelet, I think that there could be more to highlight the gold on here. You know, in my opinion, maybe there's not enough. You know, as you can see, it alternates the different links. I would like to see it come all the way down to be a more uniform look and more use of gold. But, you know, overall, I think that it looks really great in this warm red. So those are some great features of this watch, and, you know, reasons why I think that anyone that's interested in the Chronomat should be taking a serious look at this and, you know, visiting their local authorized dealer to get hands-on with it. Okay, now it's down to our closing thoughts. So with this watch, I want to talk about value. And specifically, I want to talk about this one in general, and then the Chronograph B0142 line in general. For the gold, for what this costs, I'm not sure that it would be something that I would pay for, but the stainless steel is definitely a great value at that low $8,000 mark. I think you're getting a lot of watch for that money. The next thing I want to talk about is who is a great buyer of this watch. And you can put this in a couple different ways. The guy that is wanting a serious chronograph. Breitling is known for their chronograph watches throughout their entire history. They have been the pioneers in measuring time, and a great manufacturer when it comes to anything chronograph related. It's also someone that's wanting a really good everyday wear watch. I mean, if you're wanting something that is going to match almost anything you wear, in the stainless steel version, they offer a great light color dial, an amazing black, a blue. So there's definitely something that you can find that you're going to be able to wear every day of the week. And then let's talk about what this compares to, and specifically within the Breitling lineup. So the most experience I have within Breitling is the Navitimer. It's another chronograph. It's another one with a B01 movement. So I would compare the two. The Breitling is definitely a step above the Chronomat in my opinion. Now that's just my opinion. Everyone is gonna have theirs. I'm sure some of you are gonna disagree with me, but I think that when you compare the finishing on the Navitimer, uh, the dial, uh, the leather strap and the bracelet options, I mean, I think you're getting just a little bit notch higher when it gets into the Navitimer. And a great example is when you take a look at the rotor on the B01, it's different finishing than the Navitimer. I'm not exactly sure why the B01 movement is finished differently for a Chronomat than it is a Navitimer, but it is. So, but that's not to say that this is not an amazing watch. I think this is lovely, which is going to bring me to the last topic that we're going to talk about today for the Breitling Chronomat B01 42mm review. Is would I buy this watch? I would not buy this in gold, but I would definitely buy this in stainless steel. I think that there's a lot of value in these watches, buying them new or buying them pre-owned. I think that these are going to last for many years, and it's something that is going to stay in style. Now, I do have some reservations about the bracelet. This is offered, well, no, Breitling does sell additional silicone straps for this. So if I were to buy this in stainless steel, probably the black dial reference, I would definitely get that black silicone strap to be able to wear this a little bit more comfortably. But I think that this is an amazing watch. I think Breitling's done an amazing job. This is a brand that I think is now really, really cool, especially under the leadership of George Kern. If no one has watched the Breitling summits that they do each year where they release their new watches, definitely watch those, take a look at it. You're gonna get a really good understanding of who Breitling is as a brand. One of the things that you're gonna find is that Breitling has really embraced their collectors, and that has seeped into the DNA of Breitling watches. So it's really cool to see that. It's something that makes you want to be a part of a brand like that, and they do an absolutely amazing job at it. So guys, I want to thank you for joining us on this review today. If you like what we're doing, if you like these videos, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and then post in the comments for watches that you want to see reviewed. Moyer has Breitling, they have Omega, they have IWC, Tag Heuer, Bell & Ross. They have a huge pre-owned section with Rolex and everything like that. So if there's anything you guys want to see me do on this channel, let me know. I'll hit the guys up at Moyer and we'll get you the reviews that you want. Thank you for joining us on this one, and I'll see you on the next one.